Welcome to this look at a new mod map on Farming Simulator 19 with me, MrSealyp. This is Montana. This is a new mod map by Rilo84. This will use 87.05 megabytes. Very, very low indeed. This is a forestry map with basic farming. Now, before you switch off, don't just suddenly go, I don't like forestry and disappear. This, I think, personally, of all the forestry maps I've looked at so far, is the perfect blend between the two, with a couple of little exceptions. But you'll see, stick with it, honestly. It's a really nicely made map, looks really nice. Now, I don't live in Montana, I'm not American. I've watched various different TV programs, there's a few different YouTubers I follow. It looks really nice within the textures and boundaries and stuff of what we got on console and Farming Simulator. But anyway, this is seasons ready. It does have contracts. It has contracts on a forestry map because there are some fields that we start with, which is really cool. It's fairly flat across most of the map, which gives you a nice option to move into forestry. I've talked about pioneering maps before. I'll talk about this a bit more as we go around, but you'll see what I mean about why I think this is the perfect blend. Now, there's no sleep trigger, so we don't start with a farmhouse. If we look at the map, this is the map. And we do have a few fields. Now, I always do my map tours on New Farmer, so what do we start with? We start with a tiny little farm up here, and field 1, which is also tiny. We have no silo, so if you're going to do the farming side of it, you'll need to buy a silo if you're going to store crops and that kind of thing. The slot count on New Farmer, we start 327 out of 1299 with a few bits of machinery as well, so you could drop that down a little bit if you got rid of all the machinery. On Farm Manager and Start from Scratch, it's 326, so it's one slot less. And what's weird to me is the only thing you don't have on Farm Manager and Start from Scratch is this garage building here. You have everything else, just not that, which is odd. Of all the things not to have, that one building, and it only affects it by one slot. So, yeah, anyway. So back to the map again. Nice big open area, long river that runs up the eastern side of the map. You can't cross that, so you can't... I say that. Hang on, though. I don't think you can, because you can't buy that. Field prices are dirt cheap, so for buying portions of forest to make money, cost next to nothing. Field prices, 8,300 for that one, 14,000 for that one. Is that the same price? Same size, I guess. 15 for that one. There aren't many sell points either, and that's something else worth pointing out. There's no livestock market. I hope, if the map maker does watch this or gets wind of it from anybody, I hope they add one in, because if you do want to move into farming and do like a proper farming, whatever proper farming is, not just arable, there's nowhere to buy your animals from. So that would be a nice addition, just a livestock market, I think, personally. So what have I covered? Yeah, no sleep trigger farmhouse, so you'd have to place your own sleep trigger somewhere. No silo, no livestock market. Okay, right, so moving on. Oh, there's no biogas plant either, so if you want to do biogas, again, you'd have to find one of the placeable ones and put a biogas plant down. So there's this one road that runs north-south, kind of 2/3 across the map towards the western side. The forestry is nice, and I say that a lot of people don't like forestry and they'll shy away from it. If you don't like doing forestry, that's fine. There are fields already on the map, which is great. There are a few little sweeping bits, like so, with a little bit of a hill. So it's not billiard table flat. It's, you know, there's a nice lot of detail to it. And as you can see by the textures, the colour palette, it just looks right. And what I also like is this blend of live trees, dead standing, and there's dead fall mixed, and you can just see through there. We'll see a few more in a bit. That gives it a very natural feel to it, and also the forestry is not so rammed thick, so dense, that to make any kind of headway, to clear any kind of land, is going to take you forever, which is another reason why I think this is a really nice blend. It's just right. So if you wanted to do this and you decide, you know what, I want to do it kind of pioneering, I want to do a little bit of forestry but maybe not a lot, and I want to clear the land, if you get the T-Rex tree mulcher, tree harvester, which as a mod, I think it's black sheep modding, that removes whole trees, if you wanted to clear a bit of land to put a field on, it's not going to take you forever because of how well spaced they are. And also they're not spaced evenly, which also gives it a really nice kind of natural feel to it. So I like it. That's, you know, it really does have a lovely feel. There's a guy I watch who's a blacksmith on YouTube called Alex Steele, who's an English guy. Started off blacksmithing as a young kid, and he moved out to, I'm sure it's Montana he's in, got married, moved out to Montana, and his workshop, it reminds me very much like this, in that he goes out of his workshop and it's flat, but you can see the mountains, and they'll often go off hill walking, and he goes off into the mountains and there's forests everywhere. That's why I think, like I say, I'm not American, I'm not from Montana, but it does, for me, it does have a really nice kind of feel to it, and it's a perfect blend. This is just a lumber area, it's not the sawmill. This is where the rest of your machinery is. We'll have a look at what machinery we start with in a minute. We have these, these have names, what were they called? I kept saying porter on the last video. I referred to them as stanchions, but they do have a technical name in logging. These are already here, so if you want to pile your logs up within those when you bring them off the field before loading and use this as a loading area, you absolutely can. Like I said, I don't know, there is enough logging that if you are a forestry person, it's going to keep you going for ages. There's plenty to do. If you do want that blend, it's got it perfectly. I really do believe that. It's a really nice map. Now, did I say it's seasons ready? It is seasons ready, and it does say in winter you get frozen water during winter, so the water freezes. I assume that's on the river. Sell points are limited, but there are a few sell point mods, so if you came on this and thought, to be honest with you, there's not enough sell points for my liking if I want to do farming, there are plenty of placeables now that you can put down as sell points. There's the Edge Castiga, there's a buy silo and a sell silo, there's the Holger Sengstock slurry manure system, there's a separate sell point, but I can't remember who that's by. There's also the self-marketing system that's got a whole load of stuff in there for selling very different things. But so as we head south down the map, we've got our fuel station just on the left hand side there. Now I haven't tried landscaping, but I would imagine on a map that's fairly flat it's not going to be too difficult for putting placeables and things down. What I would say is, if you do clear land, make sure the stumps are out, because stumps can be a pain. They can be the thing that will stop you being able to place things, and that's no guarantee. Every map seems to be different with regard to placeables. Now what we are going to do is put that back on, and we're going to take a left here. This takes us out to the sawmill. No, it does say sawmill and barn. There's two sell points up here. But again, another field out here. The fields that are on the map to start with, like I say, they're not expensive at all, and they're not a bad size. And with a little bit of, like I say, a tiny bit of forestry around the edges, you could really expand these out and get yourself going on a kind of joint farming forestry venture, or just farming if you just want to do that. Yeah, I don't know why I'm smiling. It's difficult when you do a map tour, especially when it's a forestry map. If it's a full-on forestry map, there's not really that much you can say. Once you've been around the track, shown the landscape off a little bit, sometimes you get ones that have got Catalyzer Gaming does it really nicely, and they put in enough sell points and bits and bobs that you can open up a map, but sometimes that can seem like a real arduous task on some maps. This doesn't, and that's what's kind of making me smile. I like it. So here we've got a barn sell point just in here. Again, it's very open. It doesn't feel contrived, you know. It feels like, you know, as the lumber logging industry has expanded, the lumberyard has been built on an area that's been previously cleared. You know, it doesn't feel forced. So around here we've got our lumber sell point, just there, and then round the back we've got our wood chip sell point, which is just there. What I am going to do is cut across country a little bit here to get us back to the main road, because we're going to head down to the rest of the sell points. There aren't many, this isn't going to take long, and like I say, I hope you're kind of already getting a feel for the map itself. And it is nice big wide open areas. In all honesty, there are probably portions of this map that you could come out with a plough, buy the land, and you could put some small fields in amongst these trees without actually having to take any trees out. You could probably do some quite interesting agroforestry where you actually plough out between the trees and do forestry between them, rather than actually taking the trees out, which I think would be quite an interesting way of doing things. I think we're going to end up passing the sell points, so we'll have to pass them and come back. But as like I said, you've got a lot of dead standing, you've got a lot of dead fall. It's a nice blend. Yeah, I'm just looking over there. Now, some people will prefer a more detailed map, some people prefer a hillier map, some people prefer more rolling countryside, some people prefer the kind of field boundaries and fences and hedges of the more, I suppose, British, more European maps. If you wanted to go whole hog on this and clear massive areas, you could have some huge fields on here. So yeah, I don't know, have I mentioned that I like it? Yeah, it's a good one. So what we'll do now, we're almost at the southern part of the map where the tunnel comes in through the mountains. There is a sign there that says Montana. Is it Montana? Is it Big Sky Country? Is that what they call and referred to Montana? If I got that wrong, I apologise if I've got that wrong. So, coming back up north, so we've kind of bypassed them, we're going to come back up to them. We have got, on our right, one of the sell points, and the name escapes me, so we will check the map. Central grain elevator. No, it wasn't that difficult to remember, was it? Got the central grain elevator, and then round the side of that we've got a sell point there, which is your spinnery. So if you're going to do cotton or wool, you can do that on there. Now there are quite a few seasons geos available. I think there is a Montana one specifically, isn't there? So there are a few, obviously, American geos available, and I'm pretty sure there is specifically a Montana one, not necessarily specifically made for this map, but there are a few if you're willing to go down the seasons route. And this is the store, so this is your main store, sell point, cash point, and your vehicle repair customise point. Sell point is around the back there. Your reset point is here back at the main store, so if you were to make a mistake, roll something, get it stuck, and it's kind of irretrievable, then that's where you would do it from. Oh, what I didn't show, and I probably should have done, which means driving the way back again, was the river. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to head up. I'll see you in a minute. I'm going to head right up north, out to where that looked like it was a bridge, because I would hate to say that's it on the map tour and then find that actually you could cross that up at the top of the river. I don't think we'll be able to, but it's worth having a look. So bear with me a minute. I'll see you up there. I'll put cruise control on and we'll hammer up this main highway at a whole 15 miles per hour. And I'll see you up there in a minute. But for all intents and purposes, that's the map. That's everything. You know, the further you go that way, there's more forestry once you get past the trees. Past the trees. The forestry is the trees. Past the fields. And then it's just more forestry out that way. As I approach this top northeast corner, I would say that's a no. I don't think you can cross here. I mean, as well as the fact if you could cross here, because you can't buy the land, I don't suppose it would let you do any forestry anyway. I'm sure I'm going to hit the edge in a minute. There we go. It took me ages to get up here. It's probably the slowest tractor there is, isn't there? One thing I didn't mention was the machinery you start with. So we're going to this menu here. Not that menu every single time. Garage. We start with the Fiat 1300D, a TX32 harvester. the Sampo Rosa new HR46X Komatsu forwarder, which is quite handy to start off with, which has a crane on it for lifting your logs if you need to. We've got a HW80 trailer, header for the harvester, cultivator and the seeder, and the farm garage, and that's the one that's one slot that when you come on start from scratch or farm manager, you don't have that, but you have everything else, which is weird because you can't actually go in that, and it's not a sleep trigger or anything like that, so it's just weird why you don't get that but everything else. But anyway, regardless of that, that's it. That's the new map, Montana, by Rilo84. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free, and if you want to share this video, then please be my guest, whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.